Welcome back, folks. Got another exciting episode of Cannabis Unlocked here today. I'm welcoming an old friend, Dave Neundorfer from Open Book Extracts. I think, Dave, this is probably your third time joining us on the
That's
podcast
right.
here. We've been connected with you guys and investors in OBX we'll be going on 3 years here pretty shortly. It's been a great ride. The company's changed tremendously since our initial investment. Many listeners today, have a good idea of what Open Book is, but why don't you let people know, how Open Book got started, where you've been, where you are today, and where you see the company going in the future.
Great. Well, thanks for having me back, Tibby. And just a quick background on Open Book Extracts. We just celebrated our 5th birthday on
Happy
January
birthday.
4th. So we're 5 years in, and we're
Nice.
still living the mission that we had back in 2018 when we saw federal legalization of hemp and hemp-derived products going through on one hand, so a regulatory change, and then on the other hand, we saw a market supply chain that wasn't ready for a fast-growing, professionalized marketplace and industry. And so it was at that disconnect that we took a step back and said, hey, we've been in the cannabis market for a while on the medical cannabis side at the state level. All 3 founders, Oz Hackett and I in Ohio, Scott Thorne in Colorado. And as we looked at what was happening in hemp, we envisioned what we viewed as the market of tomorrow coming in and expecting manufacturing excellence and quality management systems and CGMP certifications. And that's what we decided to build, right? And so we believed in the power of the plant. We believed in the lower THC side of the cannabinoid spectrum. We believe in the promise of the mood state and therapeutic states that minor cannabinoids can unlock. And we set out to build the most sophisticated supply chain solution for this burgeoning hemp-derived market. Whereas in 2018, based on most of the leading incumbents at the time, we were pretty dismayed at what we found from a customer service standpoint, quality, transparency, and documentation. And we double-clicked on the lack of transparency for this market to grow. You need trust. To build trust, you need transparency. So we named our company Open Book.
Awesome. So, when we first invested in the company, outside of what you just described there, you guys were mainly focused on providing formulations and ingredients to the industry. A lot's changed since we made that investment. Now you're more focused on really kind of controlling the entire middle part of the supply chain. You guys provide finished goods and co-packing capabilities. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I can. So when we put together our very first pitch deck for what we envisioned OBX becoming, we always knew there was going to be ingredient formulation R&D as well as finished goods manufacturing. And we staged those out in that order. So we built our CGMP facility in 2019 in an old tobacco warehouse, 76,000 square feet, about 30 minutes north of Durham, North Carolina. But then in 2020, we built out our bulk ingredient production capabilities. Really in 2021, we built out our formulation R&D support because most brands don't have an internal formulation R&D team. And then really in 2022, we built out finished goods manufacturing capabilities. And the theory was, if you look at any other industry and a lot of case studies, there are a lot of reasons not to vertically integrate for more mature industries. For us, vertical integration, while challenging, became critical because our play right now is channel management. We wanted to own these relationships with the leading brands that are going to grow and survive and grow through the market of today, as we call it, as well as the market of tomorrow, which will be defined by either Congress or the FDA clarifying the regulations for hemp-derived products. But being able to manage the channel and being the one-stop shop on behalf of brands who are either already in the space and they care about quality and reliability and safety, or brands who will enter the space, the household names who will enter once their compliance departments give them a thumbs up. Having that vertical integrated reach is critical for driving innovation, driving documentation, driving transparency. And then once the market becomes a little bit more evolved and a little bit more mature, I think we'll then see some specialization in specific verticals once you can rely on the other pieces of the supply chain living up to your quality standards, but that'll take time to get there. So it has been an evolution, ingredients, formulation support, and now finished goods manufacturing. And a lot of our best clients are, if you've heard of a client or heard of a brand in the THC or CBD side of the market, chances are they're doing one of those three things, if not multiple, with open book extracts.
Awesome. Is there any chance you can share with the audience some of those clients that you're working with, just so people have familiarity?
Yeah, so there a lot of the clients work with us and want to make sure that we don't disclose publicly who we're working with. Groups that are public because they've submitted case studies and it's public information. We work with a number of the True Leaf brands on formulation development and tech transfer for products that need to be run and manufactured in a state licensed processing facility. A lot of the CBD brands, unfortunately, were restricted by confidentiality, but truly, if you've heard of a brand, 90% of the time, they're one of our clients.
Yeah, and I can certainly say with that visibility from our side, you guys are working with the top brands out there, whether in the THC or the CBD space. I was going to ask the question of who your clients of tomorrow are going to be, but I'm guessing there's probably confidentiality stacked there. But I would say major CPG companies, food and beverage companies that folks know of outside of cannabis are certainly in the pipeline and in conversations with you guys today too.
Major vitamin dietary supplement brands, leading, top three beverage brands, leading tobacco brands who are looking to backfill, cigarette sales. So yes, there are a lot of groups who, while they don't have the compliance clarity to enter the market today or the compliance sign off, are getting ready by getting a product portfolio developed. So when there is a regulatory evolution or regulatory change, they're not caught flat-footed. And that's really exciting visibility into what this market's going to look like on the other side of that event. And we don't know if that event is going to happen in 2025 or 2026. We do still believe that that event is inevitable. We feel pretty strongly that it's not going to happen in 2024. As everybody knows, likely the 2023 Farm Bill was punted from the end of last year to be reviewed in September of this year. And I know you just had an exciting conversation with David Culver about that. But in an election year, chances are we're not going to see a lot of major change. So we're kind of thinking at least 2025 or beyond for when those major household brands get the clarity they need to enter the space.
Yeah, awesome. I want to spend some time on the podcast talking about the hemp derived cannabinoid market, the proliferation that we saw last year, form factors that I think are really starting to get their stride, such as beverage. But before jumping into that, can we talk a little bit about what really changes with this FDA clarity or the Farm Bill, how these traditional CPG companies start to get involved? What do you think the products on the shelves of tomorrow look like with these companies? Are cannabinoids a single line item ingredient the way CBD is sold in the market today, or is it a broader part of a broader nutraceutical package, a line item with several other ingredients attached to it?
Yeah, so I think that we're going to see what we refer to as active ingredient stacks or active stacks focused on opening up a new usage occasion. That usage occasion could be social. That usage occasion could be creativity. That use occasion could be sleep or pain or focus. And so I don't see cannabinoids being a single category line item for a single format. I think we're going to see cross-format integration of different active stacks focused on creating, some product that has a point of view. And that point of view needs to have in mind, okay, who's using this? Where are they using it? How it fits into their daily routine? and to what end? And on the heels of COVID and with the most health and wellness conscious generation that we've ever seen in Gen Z coming to market, it's crazy to me because they're almost looking at alcohol the same way I, at age 42, looked at cigarettes when I was their age. And both on the health and wellness thrust and through the eyes of these citizen doctors, they're not only thinking about health and wellness goals through that lens of hey, what's going to help me be the best version of myself that I could possibly be, but they're also thinking through that lens in the social context setting as well. What can I do to take the edge off or to be more social or be more extroverted without sacrificing my workout in the morning or without feeling like I'm a little bit slower or more dull or any of the hangover effects of alcohol. And so I think it's going to range from social occasions, obviously the routines of beverage, the social routines of beverage will stick and will cross over from alcohol into the hemp-derived cannabis active stacks, but then all the way over to the more therapeutic needs, chronic pain. I have a blown out shoulder and two repaired knees that I use cannabinoids on for a daily basis. And then I use them to relax and be able to get great sleep at night. And so I don't see one brand serving all of those needs. I really see a category approach with different active stacks that have research showing, hey, if you're trying to achieve X, Y, or Z, here's the brand or the product lineup that will help you with a custom curated active stack that shows that, hey, this is going to work for your needs.
Are you guys already currently working on formulating those types of active stacks that you're discussing with some of these, call it unsaid traditional CPG companies?
We are, and those active stacks can at times just include cannabinoids. They can marry cannabinoids and non-cannabinoid actives, so dietary supplement type actives that marry well with cannabinoids and dosages that actually do move the needle. And then we're also working on formulations that do not include cannabinoids in the active stacks for groups that want to come to market with a health and wellness focused or social occasion focused product that does not carry cannabinoids today, but will carry cannabinoids in the future. And so we're seeing all three of those different types of clients. And the reason that they work with us is each one of these actives has its own idiosyncrasies. Some are hard to blend, some crystallize, some turn into an oil, some have a very bitter aftertaste. And so that's where our formulation team is really quite special. We can curate products that not only work, but also have a great taste and great organoleptics that will fit within the routines and the stylistic choices of the mainstream consumer.
Yep. You said something there that really sticks out to me. You said products that really work. What type of work are you guys doing to ensure the efficacy or the effect of the cannabinoids that you guys are formulating?
Yeah, it's a great question. We want to help this industry move beyond anecdotes. And as one of our investors likes to say, the plural of anecdote is not data. And I think that's a great line and something that's really important for our industry as we're trying to legitimize and destigmatize and bring more of the mainstream market in. Having real data is key. So how do we get that data? We have a stair-step approach. We have a internal consumer insight panel when we're building new active stacks and new products. We have about 150 people that give feedback on a blinded placebo-controlled lineup of products. The next step up is we can do discovery work. So we have a more distributed group where we can send products out for people to take on a routine basis, depending on what the study design is. That could be twice a day or daily or once a week or once a month. And then we have full clinical trials that we work with third parties to realize and achieve. And those are large scale. So populations of 300 people per arm, usually 6 arms. So we're talking 1,800 data points where we can get some really interesting data on how and where these products are working on behalf of the mainstream consumer, usually focused on one of these opportunity states, whether it's sleep or pain or focus or women's health and on down the line. So we've been probably investing as much, if not more, than any other hemp-derived company into both safety studies and efficacy studies since our founding 5 years ago.
And would you say that that maybe is a precursor to eventually having big pharma taking a keen interest in the space as well?
Look, I think the data can be utilized in a lot of different pathways. Certainly business development into new channels that appreciate the data, such as pharma, I think is interesting. Depending on where the FDA lands on new dietary ingredient applications, having the safety dossier, I think will be critical towards that. But having right now, like the reason for having the data is to be able to land those large CPG clients who come to us and say, we know nothing about this market. Get us up to speed on regulatory, get us up to speed on, the ingredients and stability studies, and then get us up to speed on where these products actually move the needle, because we don't want to put our brands on anything that doesn't work. So that business development and validation, that data really moves the needle on. Down the line, could it be helpful for a single cannabinoid stack for pharma? Yeah, it could be, but that's not our near-term reason for doing it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Really, really great insight here. So I want to switch gears a little bit now to talk about the hemp market. In the last, call it 18 months, and I think 2023 was really kind of the breakout year. Hemp has significantly, or hemp-derived cannabinoids have significantly disrupted the high THC market, licensed THC market. Can you talk a little bit about that and why OBX is positioned well to take advantage of this new fast-growing market?
Yeah,
Maybe
so
not new, but
right.
new to the legal side.
Yeah, well, since the passing of the 2018 Farm Bill, the perceptions of risk on the intoxicating hemp-derived market, is what I'll call it, have dropped precipitously, right? And I think a tipping point was late 2022 and then early 2023. And that the reasons are there are a myriad number of reasons, right? But the biggest reasons are lack of enforcement, the perception by all legal, counsel in the space that Delta 8 is now federally legal with a strict interpretation of the 2018 Farm Bill, and that has created an absence of any clarity on the level of acceptable concentration of Delta 9 THC. The copying and pasting of 0.3%, which was originally for the flower at harvest, you couldn't have more than 0.3% of the flower, of the dry weight of the flower in Delta 9 THC. That has been copied and pasted and applied to the dry weight of a finished product, right? And so over the last really 2 years, the perception of risk has dropped significantly on launching products that have meaningful amounts of hemp-derived D9. So to give you an example.
Can you give us, okay, yeah, that's what I was about to say. Give me an example, right?
Yeah.
Like a traditional edible has, 10 milligrams of THC in it. How does this work on the hemp side?
Traditional, let's use the gummy, right? The gummy that you get at a dispensary, probably the middle of the bell curve and concentration is right around 10 milligrams. For a 4-gram gummy, 0.3% of a 4-gram gummy is 12 milligrams of hemp-derived D9 THC. And in 2020 and 2021, I think people kind of knew that might be perceived as the upper bound, but they didn't want to be brazen about it. And so they were putting 2 milligrams or 5 milligrams of Delta 9 THC into that gummy. Now they're taking it right up to that 0.3% threshold, which is a direct threat to the regulated market dispensary sales and undermining and undercutting those sales. Because if you can get a great tasting hemp derived D9, 10 milligram D9 THC gummy shipped directly to your house on a monthly basis with a subscription from a brand that you already know about, and it's the brand that you would buy at the dispenser anyways. That's where the mainstream consumers meeting cannabis right now. It's simple, it's easy, it's just like ordering on Amazon. You get products that are tested, and you get the lineup or the active stack that you've already tried and evaluated at a dispensary, but without any of the hassle. And so that's been a major driver is the hemp derived D9 perception on that 0.3% definition. And then, of course, the impairing cannabinoids that don't have any upper bound by definition in the 2018 Farm Bill. And that includes Delta 8, which is the most popular, but then also HHC, which is hugely popular in Europe, THCO, THCP. I saw D12 THC at a vape shop a couple weeks ago. I saw THCX, which I don't even know what that means. So
Ever heard of that?
it's getting a little bit absurd. But the fact of the matter is that market continues to grow with more, I would call it more well-established brands comfortable with hemp-derived D9. And then probably smaller, less well-established brands pushing the envelope into some of the other impairing cannabinoids, outside of D8, but on down the chain that are further out on the tail.
Yeah. When you say that, my natural inclination is that, THCX, what is that? I've never heard of that. I've been in the cannabis industry for 5 years now.
Yeah.
By pushing those bounds, I think that they will eventually be stopped by some sort of legislative event. I don't think that's going to happen for hemp-derived D9. Delta 8, maybe a little bit more of a question mark, but what do you think is going to happen? Crystal ball, I know we're not Miss Cleo here, right? But what happens tomorrow when the government comes in and regulates these hemp-derived intoxicating cannabinoids? Do you think this goes away? Does it go away in certain states? Is this a market that's now here to stay? The cat's out of the bag. Where do we go from here?
Look, I think it's going to be hard to put the genie back in the bottle. Down the line, likely as part of comprehensive cannabis reform, we will see probably a cap on impairing cannabinoids that exist naturally in the flower. Does that cap stay as a dry weight basis of 0.3%, or is it an actual milligram, definition per dose and per bottle? We'll see, but I think it's going to be a really challenging piece of the puzzle to address outside of broader federal cannabis comprehensive legislation. And so I don't see that happening at least until 2025 or beyond. But I certainly don't see Delta 8 thresholds going to zero. If anything, I see them being pulled under the 0.3% ceiling that is in place for hemp-derived Delta 9. If it's not naturally occurring in the plant, I do see it being addressed as part of the as part of it being a Schedule 1 drug and on the controlled substance list. So as was THC, the DEA came out and said that about THC last year.
Not naturally occurring.
Not naturally occurring
is how you would really phrase that.
Yes.
Okay, super interesting there. You guys are obviously very poised in a solid position to go take advantage of this new, well, not so new, but new legal market, I would say. Let me pause there. I always like asking folks just to kind of wrap up these podcasts. Like, one, if there's anything left you want to say about OBX, now's the time. Otherwise, looking into your crystal ball, what do you think happens this year? Do we see safe banking? Do we see rescheduling, maybe descheduling? How do you feel? And what if as a betting man, where would you time this?
Yeah, I think the only thing that happens this year is rescheduling. I don't think safe banking is going to happen this year. I don't think descheduling is going to happen this year. Although I'm excited about what Elizabeth Warren and team are putting together in terms of full descheduling. I don't see it happening this year. I think the HHS's recommendation will be heard and implemented by the DEA this year to drop it to Schedule 3.
Yep.
I also, every year for the last 3 years, have made bold prognostications on what regulations are going to change this year that changes the market, and I've been wrong on every single one of them. So
Yep.
A, I don't have the crystal ball, and B, I'm kind of jaded about expecting change and
Sure.
not seeing it year in, year out in this market.
Yep. I would definitely say I've been victim of the same types of predictions there in the past. So making the bold prediction as well that this year we will likely see rescheduling. I give myself a very, very high degree of confidence that that's happening.
Yeah, me
But
too.
as we continue to invest in the space, the one thing that we know for sure is to act as if nothing's going to change and take the change as rewriting the upside potential for any of the investments that we're making, and then for you guys, I think also rewriting the potential for new entrants into the markets.
Yeah, agreed. And then on the OBX side, we are positioned really well to take advantage of what I think is going to be the longest period of regulatory clarity that we've had since starting the company, which is a period of 12 months where we don't expect anything to happen, right? And a 12-month period of time where I think that we're finally through the glut of biomass that was left over as a result of overproduction in 19 and 20. And we could see ingredient prices start to tick back up as a result of there needing to be, more hemp in the ground that the market can find to serve demand today. And
Yep.
so that's an exciting position to be in. Thankfully, we have the ability to think long term. I think there are a lot of great companies and technologies and brands out there that are really struggling based on high cost of capital or low access to cash infusions. And so I think the table is nicely set for a potential, roll-up strategy for groups that have access to cash and control of key channel relationships as OBX does. So we're excited. It's going to be another challenging year for the market. We're excited about our strategic positioning within a challenging year, and certainly excited about all of the additional ingredient capacity that we just invested in as a result of acquiring Nucleo.
Awesome. Well, Dave, I really appreciate the time spent here. Super insightful. I think a lot of folks have been kind of scratching their heads at what's going on in the hemp markets. This should certainly clear the air for a lot of folks. Pumped to hear that you guys just celebrated your 5th birthday. We celebrate our 5th birthday on March 15th this year, so we're right there
Nice.
with you guys. But it's been a pleasure getting to know you guys over the years. You and Oz are certainly some of the management teams with the most character out there that we've invested behind. So really
Thank
excited
you.
to be a part of the cap stack with you guys, and excited for the future here. So onwards and upwards from here. It feels like there's been a bottoming already in the market, and we're going up from here. So
Look, thanks for having me on, Tibby. Thanks for all the support we've gotten from you and the whole key team. We're fired up to be working side by side as this market evolves, and happy 5th birthday when it gets here. I look forward to
yeah,
celebrating with you.
awesome, man. All right, well, everybody take care. Thanks so much, Dave, and have a great day.
All right, thanks, Tibby. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.